Good evening. Welcome to the November 19th meeting of the Board of Trustees. It is 6:02, calling to the meeting to order. Clerk Perillo, will you please confirm the presence of a quorum?
Yes, thank you. Mayor Shepro?
Present.
Thank you. Trustee Ugrinsky?
Present.
Thank you. Trustee Franco?
Present.
Thank you. Trustee Hill?
Present.
Thank you. Trustee Giuliano?
Present.
Thank you. Mayor Attorney Moran is with us. He's not here at the moment. Treasurer Gafka is here as well.
Thank you very much. Can we all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Clerk Perillo, do we have any announcements tonight?
Yes, Mayor, only one. The village offices will be closed on the 27th and 28th of November in observation of Thanksgiving.
What about the Santa Parade? What about the lighting on November 29th? What about all these festivities that we're having? The tree lighting of the Christmas tree down on the corner of East Broadway and Main Street on November 26th. There's a ton of things going on. My bad.
My bad, actually.
But
the Santa Parade is November 30th.
they're also very much available on social media, websites, but there's a lot going on in the village. Residents' Night is December 5th. That is where residents are invited to come in and ice skate for free and enjoy hot chocolate, courtesy of some of the trustees like to serve the hot chocolate, and cookies and brownies. Santa shows up, and then Dickens Festival weekend, right? So there is a lot going on. Check our website, check the social media pages of the village. There's a couple of new pages. I Love Port Jeff has a lot of good information on the Instagram and Facebook, and so does Port Jeff Together. So our retailers and restaurants and holiday committee for making Port Jefferson a winter wonderland this year is in full effect. So we're very excited about this, and we're very grateful to all of the chamber members and the bid members and the independent retailers who are really coming together to help light up Port Jeff. It's really spectacular. It's going to be an amazing holiday week and month, forever and ever. Okay, that's the announcement. I see correspondence is on the agenda. Is that just perfunctory? Do we have correspondence?
We do not this time, Mayor. That's
Okay.
a placeholder.
All right, thank you. Officer John and Kevin Cooper, Supervisor Cooper, you want to come on up? Take to the podium. Thank you for being here. Sorry for the tight fit. That's not, who's the producer of this event?
Got it. Yeah. All right. Good evening, everyone. Okay, good evening. How's everybody doing? Would you like me to go over stats?
Yes, please.
Want me to do that?
Mhm.
Sure. Okay. So I'm going to do some crime stats and really everything that Port Jeff had calls for service on for a month time period. It's going to be October 22nd through November 19th, and it's going to be year 2024 compared to 2025. All right, so that time period of October 22nd through November 19th. So in 2024, for that time period, we had Port Jeff Village had 335 calls for service during that time. This time we had 304, a difference of 31. Aggravated harassments went up from 0 to 2. Out of those aggravated harassments, we had one individual who did not pursue any criminal charges, and the other one is still under investigation. Assaults, we had 0 for both time periods. Burglaries, we had 1. We had 0 in 2024 and then 1 for this year. And with that burglary, we did make 1 arrest. Criminal mischiefs stayed even at 4 for both time periods. And out of those criminal mischiefs, we have 2 that are still under investigation and 2 that were cleared by arrest. Harassments, 11 for the last time period compared to 4 for this one. Out of those 4, we had 1 that was cleared by arrest, 1 that's still under investigation, and 2 where the victim decided not to pursue any criminal charges. Larcenies, we had 6 for this time period compared to 3. Out of those 6, we have 5 that are still under investigation and 1 where the individual decided not to pursue any criminal charges. Just want to mention something about one of those larcenies, if I could. Because in those larcenies, we include grand larcenies. And I just thought this was something that I wanted to share with you guys, just to be aware of scams and different types of things that are happening. Well, this individual got a phone call from somebody who was pretending to be a Chase account manager from a bank. I guess they did a very, very good job at convincing the individual that they needed to withdraw $19,000 from their bank account, okay, and then meet someone on the road to hand it to them. Yeah, so, these things happen, and individuals are out there who are looking to capitalize on people who sometimes will panic, not think clearly about it. Scams work in one way, and it has to happen now, like right now. Anything that has to happen right now is a scam, almost 99% of the time. So when they're calling you to, go get them gift cards that you owe taxes and all these other things, just take a breath, call someone, call someone. I say it all the time. Bounce it off somebody else, right? Call someone, a friend, family member, and be like, wait a second, what do you think about this? So with that, please, around these times, the holidays, be very, very careful with scams that are happening. And they happen a lot. They happen a lot. And they start with simple phone calls where they're just phishing. Emails, we all get them. Tons of emails, right, with PayPal and Chase and this, and they look legit. Those are just phishing exercises for these people. They're looking to hook onto somebody to respond back and hook right on. So they do it with the same way they do it with phone calls. So please be careful. Menacings. We had 1 menacing during this time period where an individual threatened to shoot another with a gun. We did clear that one by arrest as well. Robberies was 0 for both time periods. So we had a total number of criminal incidents last year at 34 to this one at 31. ADA cases, we went down. Those are our calls, our medical calls, from 90 to 64. Overdoses, we had 0 for both time periods. Our total number of criminal incidents went down from 301. Excuse me, did I say criminal? Sorry, non-criminal. Total number of non-criminal incidents is 301 and came down to 273. Motor vehicle accidents went down from 19 to 15. It's always good. And we had no fatal or serious physical injury motor vehicle accidents neither. And our arrests went from 5 last time period up to 10 for this one. Let's see what else. That's what I have for stats. Does anybody related to calls here? Anybody have any questions about any of that? No? I just wanted to just paint a picture really quick about the village. Is that okay?
Yes.
Call volume, just to give you an example, call volume and things like that, just so you're kind of all know what's going on. In the 6th precinct, we compete with the 3rd precinct year to year on call volume. If you know anything about the 3rd precinct, it's Brentwood, Central Islip area, and we have an abundance of officers there, more than in the 6th, and more patrol cars, than more sectors. It's a smaller area as well. Ours is much bigger. So right now, we're on track. Right now, and when I say right now, this is January through September, we've handled 63,881 calls in the 6th precinct. We're first. We're probably on track to be somewhere in the high 80s. That's where it's looking. Year to year, we finish up somewhere in the high 80s, 87, 88, and we constantly go back and forth with the 3rd. Comparatively, last year, we handled we were at 65,000. So we actually had more calls this time last year, about 2,000 more calls. So there is some less volume, but it's still very busy. In Port Jeff, the calls for service in Port Jeff in 2024, January through September, were 2,881, right? And in 2025, we're up to 3,103. So January through September. It's a decent amount of calls. And to give you an idea with what's going on around you, Mount Sinai, so everything that touches Port Jeff Village, let's say, Mount Sinai, 2,606 for 2024, and right now they're about 2,754. Yes, sir.
Now, when you reference call to service, is that a
Yeah.
911 call? Or
That
is
is,
that a
yeah.
call to the precinct?
No. Yeah, every time a patrol car gets dispatched. So even if you're calling the non-emergency line, if you're calling the precinct and then the precinct is relaying somebody up to, if 911 or non-emergency is generating a call and a report number is issued and generated, and a police officer has to respond, that's what this is. That's exactly what this is. It's everything we do. Everything we do is incorporated in this number. Setauket is the busiest around. Setauket is busy up here, 3,400, 3,300 for this year. But Port Jeff Station to the south here is 7,430 up to this point. And right now they're at 6,899 for this year. So it's very busy in Port Jeff Station. Port Jeff Village, I think, has an adequate amount of calls for its size, and I mean for everything that you have here too, businesses and shopping and a lot of visitors. It's very good. It's very good. And I threw Miller Place in there. They're at like 2,000, 2,100. So let's see. Obviously, the holidays are coming up. Like we said, a lot of events in Port Jeff. We get involved with quite a few. The Santa Parade, Dickens Festival. So please just be aware that there's people out there looking for open car doors, packages on the front seat, bags on the front seats of vehicles. So don't leave anything in the open in plain view. Keep the doors locked. That's really all I have. Also, if I can mention, the 6th Precinct Community Meeting is Tuesday, December 9th at 10 a.m. And that is just a review of what's going on in the precinct, kind of like what I did here, but for the whole precinct, so you can get an idea of what's happening. Let's see. I don't really have anything else. Is there any questions for me? Anything? Yeah.
Mather Hospital today, large presence, was that a exercise?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was a, I guess you saw a lot of police vehicles there. It was we did an active shooter drill. Yeah, we were doing an active shooter drill. So when we do active shooter drills, we coordinate obviously with the location. All of our officers from the road actually get pulled in for this. It's pretty good. Like it's really a nice way to train because it's it's like you're responding, you know, to something it makes it very real life. And then they conduct the drill within the hospital in some location in there, yeah, with our academy staff, our emergency services unit. So it's really good. Yeah, yeah, that's probably what it was. And they're coming from not only our precinct, but we're calling cars from other precincts as well. If they're able to free up, then they'll send two cars every hour or whatever it is. Yeah, sure. Anything else, anyone? No? All right, well, happy Thanksgiving and have a wonderful holiday, everyone.
I have
All
a
right,
question
thanks.
for you, Officer John.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Sorry.
No.
The stats that you gave were great.
Hmm.
Do you have any information, you might not have it, but if
Yeah.
you can bring it next month,
Yeah.
if you don't have it this month, on speeding and other like motor vehicle
Okay. So some
violations, summonses, yeah.
Sure.
And I think we have some data that we can provide to you. I don't know if we did or not yet, but if we haven't provided you with we have the speed monitor.
Oh, you have a speed monitor.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
We have a particular
data
area
from
that
that.
is problematic.
Okay.
And maybe we can provide you with the numbers from
Sure.
that.
Absolutely. One thing, if I could, all these stats that I got today with relation to call volume and the different hamlets and their call volume can all be found on suffolkpd.org. It's on our public-facing dashboard. You can go on it. You can click on any precinct, any hamlet, and you can see the totals of calls and what kind of calls they are. It even breaks it down to what kind of calls they are. So it's pretty interesting. It's pretty neat. You pick your individual hamlet, whatever you want to see, and you can get the same numbers that I bring to you. So, all right? Great.
Thank you very
All
much.
right.
Thank you.
You can, it's easier to get by there. Yeah, I think so. Hello, Supervisor.
Hi, thanks for having me again, Mayor and trustees. Just going to go over some of our stats and what's going on in the village for up to date from November 1st till today. We received 4 online complaints for the month. 2 were anonymous. They were comprised of 1 for illegal parking, 1 for commercial noise, 1 a car blocking a driveway, and 1 for livestock chickens running on other people's yards. So, which we handled.
Yikes.
Yeah. So, yeah. The chicken. There was
Stop.
a problem with the enclosure at the resident's house, so I think we fixed that. Code investigations. We have 1 business windows were fully covered. That's been remediated. 1 was an illegal driveway at a residence. We're investigating that, working on that. Notice of violation was issued. We had 2 complaints, investigations for construction inside a business. 2 businesses were doing constructions without permit. We issued NOVs to them. We had 1 complaint for illegal hunting that I found the person and we made a notification to DEC. In total, 5 notices of violations were issued. 8 field appearance tickets were issued, 4 for illegal signs, 2 for no permits, 1 for no certificate of occupancy, and 1 for no apartment license, an illegal apartment. Incidents via our code phone, we had 11 incidents. 1 was people calling in to the code phone with a complaint. 1 for a tree clearing, 4 noise complaints, 1 aided case, 2 accidents. 1 was a dead deer on the road. 1 was fishing on East Beach, which was 1 in the morning. One of my officers saw a car parked up on David's Way and investigated and saw 4 individuals walking down East Beach to go fishing, and he told them to turn around and leave. So we're keeping an eye on that a little, I guess, earlier in the AM now. Instead of 5, 6 AM, we're going to keep an eye on that, like after midnight, anybody who's working. And we had 1 today. A dumpster was parked right in the middle of the street, but we remediated that pretty quickly. As far as parking tickets, we've issued 503 for a month to date so far, and last year there were 101 issued, 2020, November 2024. And that's it with the stats. Like the mayor said, we have the Santa Parade coming up on November 30th. I'll be out there with my people. The 6th Precinct will be assisting us. I talked to them. They'll have plenty of crossing guards and other officers at the main intersections to assist us. We have the Dickens Festival, the 6th and the 7th. We'll be out there. And I'll also be out next Wednesday night with a few of my officers for Wednesday nights. The night before Thanksgiving is one of the biggest nights out, bar nights. So we'll be out keeping an eye on things late.
That's a tree lighting too, right? Mhm.
Yeah, so we'll be out for that. And that's it. If anybody has any questions or comments?
Questions for code enforcement? Trustees?
All right.
Kevin, how did it go today at the,
Today I did not make it, I'm sorry.
okay, yeah, no
Yeah,
problem.
I got very busy with some other stuff,
Sure,
but I will be out there with Jimmy.
Okay.
I'll do a couple of mornings at the elementary school and a couple afternoons at the high school.
and I just have a question. Do you have a special requirement for Anthony, that he has to crawl all over the floor at the gym? And
No,
I was in the gym with him, he's wearing a youth medium shirt, crawling all over the floor.
no. If you want me to talk to him about it, I'll
Yeah,
talk.
can you please speak to him? I mean, I asked him if he was doing marine training for a new Marvel movie, but,
No, I don't know.
all right, thank you.
His motor's going all the time.
Oh,
But we would, Trustee Franco asked me about the schools. I didn't get a chance to, there's some parking issue, or drop-off pickup issues at the school, the high school and the elementary school that we're looking into, so that's what that is. All right? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, now to the section of the agenda where the public addresses the Board of Trustees. Do we have anyone that would like to address the Board of Trustees?
James Luciano, 55 Howard Drive in Quorum. Good evening, everyone. I'm here to address the current resolution on the agenda tonight, Resolution Number 9-111925. I'm here speaking as the chair of the Parking Committee, and it is important to note for those whom are not aware that I'm also the president of the Business Improvement District as well as a business owner here in the village. Having wearing these three hats, I am on call 24/7. My texts start as early as 6 a.m. most days and continue throughout the day until midnight. My phone is always on, and I am in constant communication with fellow business owners, residents, and village representatives, as I am often the point of contact for most to complain to. The reality of things is that I don't have any control on what this board decides or village policy, but my colleagues in this village have trusted me to be their voice on important matters such as this. This voice quite often costs me business, as many sit on this board as well as select residents will no longer support my business because of the things I have to say. Many of these things on behalf of our community partners. I have pulled out of the online Facebook groups because, to be quite honest, it was tolling on a consistent basis due to the amount of misinformation that is out there, and the keyboard vigilantes using me as a pawn to twist what I say and my intentions for their personal gain. I stand here today wearing these three hats, taking hits left and right, not for any other reason than trying to better my fellow business community. The Parking Committee was established through the Business Improvement District as a subcommittee on September 12, 2023. This committee was established to create a line of communication between the village and the business community after it was abolished by the village under Mayor Grant and Deputy Mayor Kathy Ann Snaden. We wanted a platform where we could independently run a work session group that takes the business community's concerns and provides solutions for consideration to the decision makers. After several months of meeting and providing recommendations, the village board voted to move our committee under its jurisdiction and out of the Business Improvement District Management Association. I'm here tonight to request an amendment to the resolution as follows. October 15th through April 14th, suspension of all metered parking. April 15th through October 14th, metered parking between the hours of 12 and 8 at a rate of $1 per hour, 7 days a week. The resolution on the agenda tonight is a Band-Aid solution to a letter that was sent into the village on October 17th. This letter was signed by the Parking Committee, the Retailers Association, the Business Improvement District, and the Chamber of Commerce. What is troublesome is that there were several businesses that got together and yearbook style signed this letter and resubmitted it to the board on November 2nd. These businesses did this because they feel the organizations that represent their communities have no standing weight in their voice. If our organizations are submitting concerns to the village, they should not be taken lightly and they should be addressed in a prompt manner. We asked several times for the village to conduct a special meeting regarding parking only. We asked that our business community be given a platform to voice its concerns with all those sitting in front of us that make the decisions on our everyday lives. What happened here is the pure definition of gaslighting. We were denied a meeting, saying that the village board acknowledges that the rates are too high and that they will be making a decision regarding parking on November 19th. The costs associated with having a meeting would not be necessary. The resolution makes no mention of adjusting the cost of the rate, but what it does is pick a random period to suspend parking, November 26th through March 31st. This means come April 1st, the weekend rates will continue at $3 per hour. This eliminates the free weekday parking during the months of October, November, and April, and this pushes us 2 steps backward, not forward. I was told on more than one occasion that the village board is tired of changing policies regarding parking. They have changed every year, multiple times a year, and it is imperative to land on a consistent formula. I wholeheartedly agree. We have also asked for this since the beginning of the creation of the new parking committee. In fact, during our January 2024 meeting, we discussed changing the metered hours from 12 to 8 and changing the rate to $1 per hour during the metered period and remove the 2-hour minimum charge. We were told not to submit a recommendation like that because the village relies too heavily on the revenue and that it would not be approved. We then formally submitted a recommendation on February 11th, 2024 for metered parking from 12 to 8 at $1.50 per hour, May 1st through September 30th, 7 days a week with a 2-hour minimum. Every meeting was always a negotiation. It was never what we wanted to recommend, but more so what the village was willing to accept. The village agreed to these terms, saying that they would monitor activity and address concerns in the fall. October 8th, 2024, we asked that the board modify the meter schedule to October 15th through April 14th to include suspended parking during the week. The 2-hour minimum proved to still be an issue that they were not willing to budge on. The board approved this request. On December 22nd of 2024, after receiving many complaints from businesses and patrons, we requested that the village board suspend all metered parking until April 15th, 2024, in which that request was denied. Ongoing conversations continued to take place, and we were brought in to discuss the revenue needed for parking changes to be made. The village was going to raise fees to $2.50 an hour 7 days a week, but eliminate the 2-hour minimum. The reasoning was due to projected parking-related capital improvements that we were desperately in need of, and the current village budget didn't account for them to be performed. I asked if we had to raise the fees, could we at least lower the fee during the week to $1 per hour? I was countered with, we could do that if we raised the weekend rate to $3 an hour. So that's where we stand today. To be clear, this was never what we asked for. The managed parking program was designed to turn over parking spaces during peak periods. There is no reason to manage parking after Labor Day when kids go back to school. The village begins a steady decline that continues in a downward path. Activity doesn't really start to pick up again until the weather changes, historically in the middle of April. The Garant and Snaden administration took a village employee who started in 2017 at a salary of $50,000 per year and increased the salary to $128,000 until the position was eliminated in 2024. That's a 250% increase over 7 years. This was done because he turned the managed parking system into the cash cow that is used today to balance the village's budget. During the administration that was run under Garant and Snaden, they started to no longer separate the parking revenue into a dedicated account as years passed for capital improvements. Instead, that money was moved into the general fund and was covering all sorts of expenses. What may have looked good on paper was certainly not the case. The Shepro administration inherited a village that was massively in debt. They have identified this debt and have done everything in their power to not raise taxes to the residents in order to recover. The misappropriation of funds that took place under the prior administration is why we are in this situation today. To be clear, I have been arguing about the parking policies for many years before Mayor Shepro, but decisions were made by the parking administrator in a combined effort to warrant his salary as well as help balance the budget. This administration has also tried to increase parking revenue to offset this deficit, placing the burden on our businesses and employees. In 2023, the anticipated parking revenue was $560,000, and the actual revenue that was received was $491,000. This is what prompted an increase in the rate. In just 3 short years, that revenue has been anticipated to $990,000, which is rough numbers 50% increase. We were told that the managed parking is not about the revenue, but about turnover. These policies only exist as they do for revenue purposes. All of the members of this board have campaigned on promises of reducing parking fees for our customers and employees, those whom without their support we would have no village. None of you listened to what we have asked for and instead have given us crumbs when we asked for bread. When rates were discussed back in 2024, our previous Deputy Mayor Cassay said that our non-resident folks should be paying for use and maintenance of our lots, not our residents. People can choose where to spend their money, and your policies are asking that they choose someplace else. The following weekend rates apply. Babylon Village, 50 cents an hour. Patchogue Village, $1 an hour. Huntington Village, $1 an hour. Port Jefferson Village, $3 an hour. Our shops and restaurants are operating at minimal capacities this time of year. Trustee Franco mentioned he wanted to see more data. You want more data? Walk into every business in the village and ask them how things are this time of year, just like you did when you campaigned. That's the real data you need. Residents don't pay for parking, so they will not come up to this podium and express negativity. Metered income reports won't show accurate data. They only show when people are actually paying. It leaves out all the people who don't pay, as well as those that short pay. The data will not show how many residents are utilizing the parking spots, whether they are patronizing businesses or they are apartment tenants. If you drive through the parking lots at 4 a.m., you will see approximately how many municipal spots are taken by temporary residents. This managed program has gone off course from managing turnover and has become a revenue-producing machine. It's time to take responsibility and fix this problem tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, James.
Good evening. Karen Sullivan, 66 Soundview Drive, Port Jefferson, and also the owner of the Wellness Stop at 146 East Main Street. So I am here just to, first of all, thank the board for accepting my tender and resignation from the Public Safety Advisory Council. And I just also want to publicly thank you for the nomination that I was given, and thank Trustee Hill and our chairperson, Tracy Stapleton, for having me on the board. But thank you very much for allowing me to serve during my time there. All the holiday announcements that you made before, the best place to go look for everything is on the Port Jeff Together page. That's a newer page that started, and it's great because it has all the information on there and all the initiatives that are there. And everything really kicks off starting this Friday. There are tons of events for everyone to participate in, and I'm super proud of the work that that committee has done because they've just done a tremendous amount of work in really getting everybody together, and it's such an incredible lift, and it's really created an incredible positive resurgence for all the businesses, definitely in town. So I'm really grateful to be a part of that. The other piece that I do want to kind of piggyback on what James just kind of addressed is the parking. As a business owner, I am in full support of what James has just proposed. I think that metered parking definitely should be suspended for the holiday, and I do feel that the rate should go down to $1. I understand that we do need to make money, I get that, but I think $3 is just completely unacceptable. I have invested between both my businesses now, because you all know that I expanded in September, I have made an investment of $175,000 in my businesses. And I plan to stay because I made a $175,000 investment. So when I hear that we're charging $3 an hour for parking, that puts a tremendous burden on me trying to generate patrons coming into my store. So I am respectfully asking all of you to please consider completely freezing the rates until the spring, and then also please dropping the rate back down to $1 an hour. Okay, so thank you.
Thank you. Lee?
Hi, my name is Lee Hefner. My wife is the owner of Sea Creations. We've been here 38 years. My background experience is I was the village administrator for the Incorporated Village of Lake Grove for 25 years. I don't know if you ever dealt with Lake Grove. I think he's the village attorney, correct?
He is.
Yes. I thought I saw him at a meeting. My problem is I couldn't understand, at one of the bid meetings, one of the bars had a representative there and saying that his business was not good and it was going down, and he requested to have the meter shut off at 8 o'clock. And I commented that night, I said, well, it doesn't affect me as long as you don't raise the rates. And the rates were raised to $1.50 an hour, right? And when I approached the village, they said it's too late, the signs are made up. But anyway, that's one thing I don't understand. It was a revenue stream for the village after 8 o'clock, from 8 to midnight, whatever. you know, people come in to drink and they don't have to pay for parking. It made no sense to me. My customers are during the day, they're retired people, they're grandparents that bring in their grandchildren, and they have to pay $3 an hour. And the village is giving up that income after 8 o'clock, which could amount to, just 1 hour is like $2,000 at $3 an hour. And this is just calculating on one night. So 2 nights, that's 4,000. 4,000 times 52 weekends is over $200,000. I don't understand, why the meters are shut off. I never got an answer on it. I don't know if anybody can answer me why the meters were shut off?
It's public comment, sir. If the board wishes to address your comment during
Oh.
their time to speak, they will, but it's not question and answer.
Oh, okay, I'm
Thank you.
sorry.
It's okay.
I didn't know. I never came to the village. I'm down here 37 years. I came a year ago. I said I have never come here to complain about anything. I couldn't understand why the meters were shut off when the village is losing the income. It made no sense to me from the village point of view. And then I'm concerned now with the $3 an hour that a new business, it's very difficult to get started in a new business. The first 2 years, you don't make money. And if we're not getting the customers down here, business will go out. I'm not concerned about mine more so than the village itself having the draw of, retail stores for people to shop. That's about it. I might have forgot something else, but whatever.
Thank you, Lee.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Lee.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kristen Hoffman. I'm also the owner of Taboo at 158 East Main Street. I'd be very quick. I just wanted you to please consider the employees who work for us. We pay them $18 an hour. If they work a 6-hour shift, they're working 1 hour entirely for free if they have to pay $3 an hour. Just something else to consider. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
My name is Mike Crone. I'm one of the owners of Castaways. I think what James was saying before, he's very passionate and he does stick his neck out a lot on behalf of the business owners. And in the short time I've been in the village, I see that there are passionate business owners. People want to stay in business. We agree that there should be a price for parking, but I think there's other ways that the village can make money. We came down, we took a big risk. We put a lot of money into the building we're in, and with the help of our landlord, we've come along with concessions that he's made. So I think maybe putting it on some landlords that have empty buildings, those buildings are going to stay empty if we start putting $3 an hour parking into effect. We struggled last year when parking was free, if I'm not mistaken, James, right? During the week last year. We struggled last year to be successful. This year we have a different plan. We've worked very hard as a community. A lot of the shop owners here, a lot of the restaurant owners, to do different events. Our landlord was gracious enough to work with us to light up Chandler Square. I don't know if anybody's seen the work we're doing over there. It's not small. It's not cheap. It's going to be big. It's going to be epic. And it's not to make Chandler Square better. It's to make Port Jeff better. And it's to bring traffic down into the village and put people into the village. But if we charge them $3 an hour to be in the village, it's going to be short-lived. And it's going to be, as my friend says, less epic than really epic. So thank you for your time.
Good evening, Brian Viscount. My wife Christine and I opened Kilwin's in Port Jefferson, going on 10 years. I fully support everything James and everyone has said tonight about parking. There's, increasing pressure on small business. This is another one on top, and it's having an impact. So we've seen declining foot traffic in our store over the years. I'm sure there's a number of contributing factors, but the parking situation doesn't help at all. So my full support here.
Good evening. I'm a resident of Port Jefferson, about 10 years, Rosario Lazaro, 211 North Country Road. Parking has been an issue for the 10 years I've been here. I think it's imperative of us as a community to think about the businesses that come here. I know as a resident that you get to park for free, but there's a cost to registering all of those cars for the town. So if it was a referendum or something, that there was a minimal charge for every resident to pay for the registered car, that could go towards that as revenue. The other thing that was mentioned tonight by the police department was code violations for parking. So don't know where that money goes, but is that money designated for the police department, or could that go up to offset the parking situation? Because I do like the businesses here in town, I do like the corporate of the town, and I support the vendors and the, bless you, residents that live here. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Ava Ressa. I am one of the owners of Lavender Fields here in the village. We've been in business almost 25 years, and I just want to say, backing off of what James and Karen said, and the rest of the business owners, that the parking right now at $3 an hour is extremely damaging to us. It's damaging our customers. We have noticed a decrease in business and traffic since the $3 an hour was put into place. So I just wanted to come up here quickly and say that we stand by what James and Karen are doing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Jimmy Tunis. I'm here representing a bunch of the shop owners at Chandler's, and other shop owners in the village have asked me to speak. You know, we're trying to make a big splash for shopping on Saturday, small business Saturday. And what a better splash would be is if the village announced that they're going to have free parking from November 25th until April 1st. You know, the village does not do a lot of business. These people are working very hard here to keep their businesses alive. And besides that, if you can come to that arrangement tonight and make a decision, you could have a really big splash in the papers, and it would just be nice for everybody in Suffolk County to know that you can come to Port Jefferson and park for free the entire winter. I think it would be a big hit. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment tonight? Okay, this concludes the public comment section of our agenda. And now we'll go to trustee comment, and we'll start to my right with trustee Franco.
Good evening. I'd first like to recognize again the school district for winning the National Blue Ribbon Award for Excellence. It was an amazing accomplishment. And I understand the business communities, the pressure placed on you. But we have a lot of, what I haven't heard this evening so far is anything about the residents of our community. You know, there are financial stresses on not just the businesses, but on the homeowners. We have a lot of fixed income people in our community. And if we, James was proclaiming, I walked the business district when I ran for election, and I listened to what people had to say, and I also walked the community. And it's important to have a balance, but we can't have a balance placing the financial burden on the residents of this community. So I think, and as James mentioned, you're correct, James, we need more data before we make these decisions. And to have an emotional decision is not effective for the community. So, and I agree with you, data is important, so I'm hoping that we get the data and we can make the appropriate decision on parking that's both productive for the business district, but also does not place a burden on the residents of this community.
Trustee Ugrinsky.
Thank you. A lot of time has been
spent on evaluating the entire parking situation. I think it was easy to sort of break it into two pieces, right? So supporting the vendors during the holiday season, making that, what Jimmy Tunis just mentioned, the shoulder months or the winter months as they're referred to, be free. I think that's something everyone can get behind. The actual rate reduction, what I'd like to do is sort of table that for now, but also meet with the chamber, the bid, and just look at the data, because we don't have sufficient data yet, but the initial data that we have is showing that the turnover is not materially impacted by price. So when saying that sort of in statistical parlance, it's not showing the level of sensitivity that would make a difference to the vendors. So I want to start taking the data and drilling in a little more deeply to see how we can, if we arrive at it should go back to $1 or $1.50, let's do it based on the data, and let's sit down and go through it together. So that would be my proposition.
Trustee Hill?
First, I just want to say I had a death in a family recently. I'm extremely behind on my village emails. I appreciate everyone's patience in allowing me to get through that, and I'm hoping to catch up by the end of the week. So if you haven't heard from me, that is why. Two, I do want to thank all the businesses for coming and advocating for the changes that we could possibly consider today. I think this is a good time to remind the residents, please do your holiday shopping at our local businesses. We have tons of great options. There's a lot of new stuff that's popped up too. So please, go there first to do your shopping. And I think that can, help solve the underlying problem here, which is we want our local businesses and our neighbors to succeed. Two, Lee, thank you for bringing up the post 8 p.m. No parking fees then. I feel like I'm the only one that's brought it up and mentioned it into the ether several times, but I've said we need to hear that feedback from the retailers because they're the ones that are closed in the evenings, and their patrons are not. Essentially, retailers and service providers, their patrons are paying 100% of our parking fees, whereas restaurants are mixed and bars is less than that. I just want to say, thank you for mentioning that. I think we certainly do need to have a further discussion on our parking in our work session. I mentioned that there's 3 policy goals in parking. One should be to it should cover all the costs that are involved in parking. The parking lots don't pay themselves for free, so that cost has to be covered. So there's those kind of built-in costs, and then of course village staff that go into overseeing those projects. Two, we need to encourage turnover so folks aren't just parked out wasting everyone's time. And then 3, and you can disagree or not, agree or disagree on this one, it is helpful that there's other means to offset the cost for residents in increasing our general fund. Now, getting that balance right is, I think, what we should be achieving. And I at this time, I do think there's further, like you, Trustee Ugrinsky said, further delving into to figure out how we exactly get there.
Trustee Giuliano?
All right. First of all, the board didn't come up with $3 an hour. That was a recommendation from the parking committee, correct? I'm asking a question. Yeah. So yeah, I appreciate that.
As I mentioned in the letter, the treasurer came up with $2.50 an hour for a 7-day-a-week parking. And what I mentioned was that that was too high, the business is never gonna do that. And he said, well, we have these capital projects that need to be funded. And I said, well, if we're gonna go up to $2.50 an hour, could we maybe meet in the middle, lower the rate to $1 an hour during the week, and then make it $3 an hour on the weekend? So it wasn't that we said, oh, let's come up with $3 an hour. That was the negotiation that took place, was we really wanted to see the decrease in the rate during the week more effectively than the increase. So the extra 50 cents over the $2.50 for the weekends was doable to get the lower parking during the week.
Right, but again, to my point, the $3 an hour was a recommendation from the parking committee, and the board approved that.
It was a recommendation, yes.
Okay. So, and you spoke quickly. I'm sorry, I didn't get a chance to write down. What's your proposal now for the amendment?
So October 15th through April 14th, which was the time frame that we had originally chose to do free parking altogether. And the reasoning behind that is because the winter does not start in December in Port Jefferson. The winter starts in October. Walk around the town, you could see that's what's going on right now. And then to adjust the rate to $1 an hour every time after that. It was always, when it was $1 an hour, it was $1 an hour with a 2-hour minimum. When it was $1.50, it was $1.50 with a 2-hour minimum. It should be $1 an hour is what it is. And we should be on target with what's going on with the rest of the communities. I mean, I gave you the rates for the other towns. I mean, we're using it to, raise revenue for the village. And I understand they don't want to put the burden on the taxpayer, but why is the burden on our customers?
And just one more question. So your proposal is $1 an hour, but hours would be what would what proposed hours of the meters? What would?
They're proposed right now at 12 to 8, but if we went to 12 to 10 like we used to, I mean, I don't see an issue with that. If you want to get the extra revenue on the other side, I mean, there's no reason why, if people are at the bars, let them pay for it. You have code here anyway.
Okay. Thank you. And the other point I wanted to make was, I know somebody else spoke about, the burden on the employees, which, yeah, I would agree that there is a burden on the employees. However, it's up to each establishment to make sure that their employees don't park in prime spots, because we've seen that happen before. Once the parking is free, employees park right in front of the store, and then your customers can't park there. So it would be the burden of the individual store owner to make sure that their employees park someplace where they're not blocking their own customers from coming in. So those are my comments on the parking. Thank you.
Thank you. First, I want to acknowledge that we have been speaking not too aggressively, but considering the possibility of a vacancy tax. So that is something that if it is legal to do, we need to try and find a way around that, because these buildings are staying vacant for just way too long, and there's no motivation to fill them. A lot of buildings are blighted, property's blighted, and it's just sitting there. And I think if I look at our village attorney and see if it's actually something that we can do statutorily, we will pursue it, as long as this board is in favor of that. So, and then secondly, the reason I think that we've had Michael Martz come up and stand in front of this board and other boards multiple times, extolling the importance of managed parking. And he doesn't know it, but he's kind of a mentor of mine in that regard. His proposal is charge $5 an hour so that the customers move and parking is managed. I don't find him a mentor in that regard, but I think that the concept and the strategy are correct. We need people who are coming into the village to either pay for parking, go into the stores, into the restaurants, purchase their goods and services and meals and cocktails and drinks and whatever, and then make room for the next customer. So that's turnover. Prior to December of 2024, there was no enforcement. There was no managed parking enforcement. No one was writing. There were tickets being written, but the percentage of tickets being written at that time was so minuscule. People parked and never even paid. Didn't get a ticket, just parked. So they knew they weren't going to get a ticket, and then they got these Constable Benevolent Association cards to be put on their windshields so that they wouldn't have to pay. Anybody remember those? That's another thing. So that all changed with the reform of our code enforcement and the elimination of our code, Chapter 19, constables, because it was not legal to have a constable in the village of Port Jefferson. So now we have a true code enforcement department that is enforcing not just parking, but all kinds of village codes. This is a whole thick book of codes. And the codes that our code enforcement department is legally obligated and allowed to do, they are doing. So that's reform. That's important. We're seeing tickets increase by the hundreds. And that's unfortunate because we don't want people to get tickets. However, it's an enforcement mechanism that has never been tested in my recent recollection, and now it is. So that leads us down to the question that Lee asked: is why does parking enforcement stop at 8 o'clock? And the justification that came to the parking committee was because it's not competitive here after 8 o'clock to find a parking spot. There's no reason to manage parking after 8 o'clock. That doesn't get to your issue, the inequity of charging people who come at noon versus 9 o'clock. But not a conversation, Lee, but just acknowledging your remarks, and the rationale for that was it's not competitive. So so again, not having a conversation. That can be debated in a different forum. It's not for this, but it's not that I'm not hearing you. It's that it's a different forum. So, but I also want to recognize you as the longest-standing retailer in the village of Port Jefferson. So that's longevity, and so you've succeeded somehow. So no. No, the village attorney doesn't. But we can talk after anytime. I'll come in the store. So I agree with Trustee Ugrinsky that what we have on the agenda today is to vote on the to suspend enforced parking for the shoulder months. Starting, I think on the agenda, it says November 26th or something like that, through March 31st, and then turn it on again on April 1st. I think, James, your recollection and your historic perspective of the recent happenings of parking was spot on. You're a scribe, you're a scholar, and you just you bring the receipts. And I really appreciate that because you remember everything or you retain everything.
Mayor, might I suggest, because we have a bunch of other business, to maybe take that resolution out of turn and just do it now?
Yes. May I say one more thing, though?
Sure.
You're the mayor, you can decide.
I agree with him. I say, yes, I agree. One more thing. I just wanted to just say that anyone that's driven past Chandler Square in the process of it being lit up has seen how beautiful that looks. And it's going to make a difference. So many things that the commercial district and downtown in the village are doing that are going to make a difference. The pajama party on Friday night, there's going to be a pajama party Friday night, right? There's going to be lantern lightings along the sidewalks. Just so interesting and engaging, and again, I'll say how much it's appreciated. The effort of activation that's going on right now for bringing people into the stores is incredible. So kudos to you. hopefully we can do something that reciprocates the enthusiasm and the activity and makes your holiday and shoulder season more successful. So that said, Clerk Perillo, would you mind reading that resolution right now?
Not at all, Mayor. We're taking resolution number 9 out of process. So that reads resolution number 9, 11/1925. Resolution adopting the following metered parking schedule, which considered recommendations made by the Parking Committee, Chamber of Commerce, Business Improvement District, the Retailers Association, and several stakeholders in the C1 district. November 26, 2025 to March 31st, 2026, metered parking suspended 7 days per week. And April 1st, 2026 to November 25th, 2026, metered parking enforced 7 days per week. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Do we have a second?
Discussion.
We need a second first.
Second.
Okay.
Sorry.
Discussion?
The agenda packet? I have two.
Discussion?
At the work session, it was brought up that we needed additional data on how the parking meeting revenue was being spent, utilization of the funds. We needed data on the meters as far as over the past few years, as far as who's coming into the village, how many clicks we're getting on the meters. All of this information we asked at the work session, we never received. So it's hard to make a decision to vote on this now, because really what we all said at the work session, and I think the common word was data, and it's still the same theme tonight, that we needed data. And none of that information from the work session, unless it was forwarded, I never received any of that information that we were requesting, as far as revenue, how the money is being spent, where it's going, how it's broken down. So it's hard to vote on this resolution without the data. Basically, we're voting in the dark with no information. And we specifically requested all of this information at the work session. So I'm concerned that we're going to make a vote today without the information. We don't even know if this budget, if this resolution right now is going to affect the residents of this community in have a negative impact on them with our own village budget. So before we make that decision, we need to determine that first and not speculate. We need to have hard information to say this is what it's going to be. So it's very difficult to vote on a resolution without that information.
So, Trustee Ugrinsky and Treasurer Gafka, is there anything you can provide tonight that would help Trustee Franco with his request for data and be able to make a decision that's in the sunlight, not in the dark?
Yes.
Let's have it. Good question, Matt Franco.
Thank you, Lauren.
So where would you like me to start?
Let's start with, so when you look at code enforcement, justice court, and revenue from parking meters.
All right, so let's start with the justice court numbers. To date, for fiscal 2026, from June through November, we've written 5,800 tickets that have brought in $223,000 in revenue. In comparison, for the entirety of last year, that number was 5,000 tickets and $274,000 in revenue. So we're almost at last year's totals through November, which isn't done yet. So that's for the justice court piece. The projection in the budget, I have $400,000 for the total fines and fees for the justice court, including all the tickets that they write. Likely going to the projection with these numbers, probably to exceed that by around 15,000 would be the best guess. So we're doing well with those tickets.
in terms of the parking meter revenue. As you're aware, we did do a budget amendment in July to bring that number down to 865. So our modified budgeted number for revenue is 865,000. To date, we've brought in 572,700 in parking meter revenue. This includes an additional 45,000 from the Danfords parking lot. So that gets added into on top of it, so around 620 total, including what we've brought in so far for November. The summary of the transactions through November, this past weekend, we're at 103,000 tickets, parking meter transactions. Last year, for all of fiscal 2025, so for June through May, that number was 176,000, but also take into account that we were charged 7 days a week through October and November last year. Meters turned off December 2nd through April 14th, and then turned back on April 15th of this year. So that's the comparison with last year.
Here's the question. Will this suspension of metered parking this year, given our enforcement endeavors and our justice court prosecutions and summonses and revenue there, will it impact residents?
I believe that answer, based on the projections that I've done, is no.
So we can manage this without impacting residents?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any other, does that help, Trustee Franco?
It does. Now, Stephen, do you have a breakdown of how, and this is why that information would have been, like that special work session where one sheet would have been so helpful. It would have been nice to have one sheet, how the revenue is broken down within the village. Like, what are we using the revenue for within the village? Now, I don't know if you have all that data, but that would be helpful to see how it's being actually utilized.
So, Trustee Franco, it took us some time to pull together all of the various pieces because, as you can see, it touches our judiciary, it touches various other aspects where we are getting parking revenue that is not necessarily just meter related. And that's why we've split this up into two pieces. We want to have the opportunity now to sit with, the Chamber of Commerce, the bid, the parking committee, and go through the detail that we've got. There are a few data pieces that we're still missing in terms of Placer AI data, for example. But we're pretty close to having something that we can talk through, end to end. And that's why we split off the metering amount. We were very comfortable that we could cover the holiday period and do so in the tradition that Port Jefferson always has. But the meter amount itself, we want to work together with the bid, et cetera, with that group, the Business Improvement District, the Retailers Association, the Chamber of Commerce, and the Parking Committee, because we have a history of getting recommendations and sort of summarily, year over year, implementing them without a full understanding by the entire group of what the fiscal implications are. Does any of this impact the residents themselves? No. I don't believe that even if we make a rate adjustment, it's still not going to impact the residents.
And
in
I
any way, shape, or
agree
form.
with you. And I when you said that the first time that you were going to have this meeting to collectively get together, but I think the problem that I'm having is that all this information was requested 2 weeks ago, and it would have been helpful to have all this information not on the fly now, but to have it as we requested it at the meeting, so that we could sit down and go over it, take some time, digest the, if I had a question, I could have easily reached out to you and asked the question. That is the concern that I have right now. So when I'm asking for breakdowns of this, this is what we asked for 2 weeks ago at the work session, that we wanted this information sent to us. So again, we're making an informed decision, right? And that's the most important thing for this community, is to make an informed decision. So, and my concern is, when I hear, I think we'll be able to meet the projection, it's concerning to me, because I actually don't see the data in front of me, and I would like to see it. I'd like to see that information. I would have liked to have had a conversation with you prior to this resolution discussing that. And I think that's where the problem is right now, and we need to kind of clean up the procedure on that, that if we ask for this information, it really should be presented. And it wasn't I that asked for this information. It was another one of the trustees at the work session. But I agreed with him that we should have it. You know, we should have whatever pace of data we have. There should be, all this information should have been given to us prior to this resolution. Again, informed information is power, and we can make correct decisions for the village. So, and that's where, and I agree with you. I think meeting with the bid, meeting with the chamber, going over parking in a comprehensive way is smart. Let's put a real policy in place with it, that it's productive for the business district and the community. But again, to vote on this, and to me, in my position, it's haphazardly, because we requested this information and didn't get it. And it just makes it hard to vote on it. So, and I agree with you. I think it's a great idea that you're going to meet with the stakeholders and try and get this resolved.
The one point I want to make is we are doing more as a village to manage through analytics than we've ever done before. And we're doing it with, in some cases, a lighter staff than the village has ever had. Okay? So while I personally would love to have delivered that data to you the week after our last bot meeting, the reality is that the coordination across the departments and having these people stop doing their work, paying bills, doing inspections, just various like day-to-day activities, this is additional work that we're asking them to do. And we're getting it done, but you have to be patient, and it will be distributed to everyone.
As busy as they are, and I recognize that, you can't say to us now, they're so busy they can't provide you with a spreadsheet of information. But then, by the way, Trustee Franco, vote on this resolution. We're not going to provide you with the documentation you request. And it wasn't requested by me, Zena. So you understand what I'm saying. So to me,
I agree on the
as
rates,
busy as they
absolutely.
are, pardon me, as busy as they are, this is information that is pertinent to making a vote on this resolution. That's all. This is the ABCs of voting on this. Get us the data, we review it. If we have questions, we reach out to you and the treasurer and make that decision.
They don't care about this.
So,
They care about their money. They don't give a shit about this. That's what the problem is. People are here right now tonight telling you there's a problem in our stores. I don't care what the data says. Go up and down the stores and listen to the business owners. If you want during prime season in June.
Hold up.
Ladies and gentlemen, please, there's ladies and gentlemen, please, there's a motion pending. One trustee has raised an issue and is discussing his issue with voting tonight. So let the process take its course, and the village will act accordingly. There is rules for a reason and decorum for a reason.
So the reason this resolution
Are we
is
ready
on
to
here-
go to vote on this, though?
Yeah.
I just have one other question. Bottom line,
Yeah.
Stephen, if we shut off the meters right now through April
March 31st.
March 31st, would it affect anything for the residents? As far as the general fund or
No.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry, I just have one question. Did you went through the numbers quick, and I appreciate you doing that, but did you mention transaction data? I thought you did, but then I couldn't follow along fast enough. And just for clarity on that, there's revenue, and then we can actually parse out the number of transactions, so when people pay to park, not how much money we've actually gotten from it. And to me, that's the indicator of the number of people that are coming. So if we can see a decrease in transactions, there are fewer people coming from fewer people parking, and that would be the indicator that fewer people are coming. Or they're maybe looking for the free spots. We can't know that, but it's a best guess of not good alternatives. And to, defend my fellow trustees, we of course all want the businesses to succeed. I live right downtown. Like, it's not, I'm 1 block off East Main. I see more of the businesses than the residents, trust me. But even with this change, it is, and I'm sure most of you agree, this is not a silver bullet to solve the economic issues of downtown. And I think us really trying to sort out the data is to figure out what we can actually do to help. Because if we shut this off and then people still aren't actually spending money downtown, now they're just parking for free and hanging out in the park or going to see the harbor. Like, there's more to do than just shop, of course. So, are we losing revenue, but then is that revenue not ending up in the stores anyway? Like, that's the question we're really trying to figure out here. So sorry, Stephen, if you have any, if you could just repeat the numbers on the transactions, and then if we've seen any trend or changes from when it went to $3 versus before.
The total transactions from June 1st through this past weekend is at 103,000. Trending analysis is difficult because we've made so many changes year to year to year on the parking. So that analysis I don't have because the times have changed, the dates have changed. So that's.
But do we just have the number of transactions over the last summer season?
The same, over the same time frame to June to today, right? Is that what we're looking at? Trending down. The answer is trending down.
So the answer last year for the same time frame was we had 127,000 transactions. But again, the meters were on 7 days a week, all of October and all of November. They were turned off on the 15th during the week in October. So again, it's hard to know.
Yeah.
So it's less, but how much of that is accounted for by when we made the change is very difficult to guess. And so.
Good point, but good question too. And good points, Kyle. Like, we want the success, the activation of the stores. And so it shouldn't be a board issue that customers are not going into your stores, and perhaps this, to suspend parking now takes that piece of the equation off the table, as it has been year over year after Dickens. So the shoulder months have always been suspended parking through like April 1st or April 15th. So, and if the data is true over this year over last year, I don't know. But if it's apples to apples, we do need to look at it, and so I think that's what we can spend the next couple of months doing. It's really digging down. Can we vote? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries. Parking is suspended as of November 26th. Okay. Back to our agenda. I'm done with my public comment, so my trustee comments. So Clerk Perillo, do you want to take this agenda and run with it now?
Mayor, second request
Okay.
to take some three resolutions out of process in reference to decision on the change of zone for Beechwood Property LLC.
Fair enough.
So, Mayor, since we do not have an executive session planned for this evening, I'd like to propose resolution number 17, 11/19/25, which is a resolution adopting the attached negative declaration for purposes of the State Environmental Quality Review Act, (SEPRA), related to the proposed change of zone application for Country Point at Port Jefferson, located at 450 Myrtle Avenue, Port Jefferson, New York, 11777, submitted by Beechwood Port Jefferson LLC, establishing the Board of Trustees of the Village of Port Jefferson as lead agency, determining the action to be a Type 1 action, and affirming that the proposed action will not have a significant negative impact on the environment, so that therefore no environmental impact statement need be prepared. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Mayor?
Yes.
If,
On the motion?
To
Oh,
Roll call vote on these.
okay.
Three resolutions.
We're going to do
Mayor.
roll call vote.
Trustee Franco?
Is this on the first resolution, 111925?
Number 17,
the
111925, regarding Sequel.
So it's the whole thing. No.
Trustee Hill?
Aye.
Trustee Giuliano?
Aye.
Trustee Ugrinsky?
Aye.
Thank you. That motion passes 3-1. Next is resolution number 18, 111925. Resolution approving the attached covenants and restrictions related to the rezoning application submitted by Beechwood Port Jefferson LLC for Country Point at Port Jefferson, located at 450 Myrtle Avenue, Port Jefferson, New York, 11777. Mayor, is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion.
Mayor, on the motion?
Yep.
I think it's important at this time that I read in the formal resolution, including articulating the covenants as agreed to.
Please do.
Be it resolved that the above captioned change of zone application is hereby conditionally approved, subject to the following. 1, the property owner shall impose covenants and restrictions which run with the land in such form as shall be approved by the Board of Trustees and village attorney, requiring the following. The site shall be approved for 77 market rate non-age restricted condominium units. Should the applicant choose to avail themselves of the maximum yield as approved, said approval shall be subject to the Workforce Housing Act. B, a 55-foot natural and undisturbed perimeter buffer zone shall be provided along the westerly boundary line adjacent to Myrtle Avenue, with the exception of sidewalks and retaining walls, if necessary, to be constructed along Myrtle Avenue pursuant to the requirements of the Planning Board. C, a 55-foot natural and undisturbed perimeter buffer zone shall be provided along the easterly boundary line adjacent to Belterre Road, and retaining walls as depicted on the site plan of VHB, page C200, title layout and material plan dated May 16th, 2025, last dated October 22nd, 2025, the site plan. D, the applicant/developer shall pay an intensified mitigation fee of $3,000 for each approved market rate non-age restricted unit, the mitigation fee. The mitigation fee shall be paid at the time of final site plan approval and signature by the relevant village designee of the site plan. The applicant/developer shall connect into the public sewer district and provide any infrastructure for the capacity to flow through the site at its sole cost and expense. F, the on-site drainage system will be designed to handle a 100-year system with no off-site drainage and will accommodate a 9-inch precipitation event over a 24-hour period, the required standards. All leaders and gutters for the condominium units will be connected to an on-site drainage system. All drainage will be discharged on-site, and the overall drainage system will be maintained by the developer and thereafter the condominium association when formed. In the event the on-site constructed drainage system does not accommodate the required standards, the condominium association will be required to expand such system to comply with the required standards at the condominiums association's sole cost and expense. G, the internal roadways and streetlights will be maintained by the condominium association. H, refuse removal shall be a private corridor paid for by the condominium association. I, the existing masonry pillars currently located at the entrance to the site will be restored and relocated to any future entryway of the site. The applicant will make good faith effort for the adaptive reuse of materials procured from demolition of the current existing main building and incorporate such materials to the extent possible in the on-site clubhouse to be constructed on premises. J, the signal displays and detection and pavement markers located at the intersection of Myrtle Avenue and Belterre Road will be modified pursuant to the traffic letter from VHB signed by Patrick Lanahan, PC, Director of Mobility, dated October 8th, 2025, provided such modifications are approved by all municipal agencies having jurisdiction. Such work shall be at the sole cost and expense of the applicant/developer. K, the required rezoning has been approved based upon representations made by the applicant, Beechwood Port Jefferson LLC. Such approval shall run with the land, except in the event that Beechwood Port Jefferson LLC voluntarily conveys the premises prior to completion of the construction to another party. Such conveyance is contingent upon and subject to the transfer of development rights and approvals consented to by the Village Board of Trustees at their sole discretion. Notwithstanding the foregoing, such restriction shall not apply to a lending institution exercising their rights under a mortgage and/or collateral given by the applicant and/or conveyance of the property as a result of enforcing any such mortgages and collateral mortgages. L, the name of development is subject to the approval of the Board of Trustees, which approval shall not be unreasonably delayed. M, access for the proposed development shall be limited as set forth on the site plan. N, each of the above covenants are enforceable through all of the powers of the village attorney's office. O, violation of any of these covenants may result in the revocation of this approval after due public hearing by the Board of Trustees. Thereafter, the subject parcel may be reverted to its former zoning classification or any intermediate zoning classification at the discretion of the Village Board of Trustees. 2, the above referenced covenants and restrictions shall be and constitute real covenants running with the land and shall be binding upon the declarant and any and all subsequent owners of said property or any part thereof, and upon their heirs, executors, and administrators, or their successors and assigns, subject to Section 1K, and also subject to the right of the Village of Port Jefferson after due public hearing to amend, alter, annul, or repeal any or all of the foregoing covenants and restrictions at any time with the consent of the owners for the time being of the premises herein described, and such shall be effectual and may be exercised without the consent of any adjacent property owners or lieners of any other property. 3, the applicant/owner agrees to submit architectural elevations for review and approval by the planning board prior to the issuance of any permits, which approval shall not be unreasonably withheld or delayed. 4, all required improvements associated with the proposed development shall be maintained in accordance with all applicable standards. 5, the development shall be maintained in a neat, clean, litter-free condition. 6, in lieu of a minimum usable open face per dwelling unit, the applicant shall pay a sum of $1,500 per each approved market rate non-age restricted unit at such time the mitigation fee shall be paid. No recreation fee shall be imposed in connection with the development. The applicant shall install at its sole cost and expense a crosswalk as depicted in Exhibit F of the letter, the Exhibit F of Richard Rosenberg, PC. Such letter and attachments are part of the record of the subject application. The applicant shall at its own cost and expense install a sidewalk along Myrtle Avenue from High Street across the subject property to the sidewalk at the school. Permission from the adjacent property owners are to be obtained at no cost to the applicant. Sidewalk, once built, will be dedicated and maintained to the incorporated village of Port Jefferson. 9, prior to the issuance of any demolition permit, the application/developer shall submit to the village building department a demolition plan that includes 1, pre-demolition rodent control, 2, asbestos abatement procedures as required by New York State and federal notifications, and 3, dust, noise, odor, and vibration control measures. All demolition and abatement shall be performed by properly licensed contractors in accordance with all applicable laws.
Any further discussion?
Yeah. Can I go first?
Please.
What's a mitigation fee?
Allowing a mitigation fee is a fee that is applied to a change of zone application in anticipation of services to be provided or increased. As they can't provide those services on site, like a park or other things, a mitigation fee is a standard fee from municipalities to the applicant to be used to provide additional services for all village residences.
So is that why there's no recreation fee?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, got that. Appreciation if that answers that question. Point 8. They're not putting a sidewalk, it's not requiring a sidewalk from the entrance down the hill?
I don't know what down the hill means.
Means along Myrtle Avenue to...
They are. From the
But to the
sidewalk.
school.
The sidewalk's gonna run from Hill Street all the way
High-
to the
High.
south. You got it?
High Street,
High Street?
Mhm.
All the way across the adjoining property,
east to,
across the subject premises, a crosswalk across the street, all the way to connect to the sidewalk at the school.
on Scraggy.
So basically, it's a sidewalk. You're on Myrtle, looking out from the Mary Haven property, going left all the way down to
Going down to Canyon Creek?
toward Canyon Creek, past it, all the way down to High Street. So that entire, and then after that, there's existing sidewalk. And then on the other side going right, but across the street, there'll be a sidewalk on Myrtle toward the school.
Toward the school.
I understand you're hearing this for the first time, Trustee Giuliano, and it's substantially more than they offered, but during the negotiation process of these restrictions and covenants, they offered to appease the board, and in accordance with, I think Trustee Hill had brought up the walkability study, now creating a walkable passage from High Street all the way to the school.
Perfect.
Actually from Main Street, because
Right.
Main
there's
Street.
existing,
Right.
counting the existing sidewalk, basically all downtown is now.
It's that
That-
one direct artery into the village.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you. I couldn't understand the...
It's a lot, I get
legalese,
it.
but yeah. Thank you. And I got a statement, but anybody else have a question first?
I have a question. Why was this not presented to us 2, 3, 4 weeks ago so we can review it? I mean, I got this an hour and a half before we came to this meeting this evening, and this is a pretty important covenants, and I would have thought that we would have had this at least 2 weeks, a month in advance. I mean, I understand negotiations are ongoing, but again, if we don't have it in advance, it's really hard for us to kind of work through it right now within a few minutes and then have coherent questions to respond to these negotiations. And I understand there's a lot of the stakeholders are here, but this really, I didn't see this put out to the community, that this was going to be on the agenda today. And it would have been nice to have some community involvement here today to discuss this.
I'll yield to the clerk as to when and how it was brought out to the public. There is no the public hearing on this issue was already held. There is no other evidence in the record, and no public comment would be taken on these resolutions. That's the first answer to your question. The second is, I personally circulated an email approximately maybe a little more than 3 weeks ago, asking all the trustees if they had any questions or concerns based on the information provided at the public hearing, that those could be addressed in the formulation of these covenants. The reason why I was late to the meeting was continued negotiations to finalize the issues with the sidewalk and mitigation fees, and literally that happened at about 7:20 this evening. Anything in these covenants and restrictions, I could affirmatively say, didn't magically appear. They were discussed and vetted at each of the public hearings where the public was to be present and share. Some of these covenants and restrictions are the product of that public hearing, and various comments made by the Board of Trustees at said public hearing. So nothing that's on this page is new for the first time, except for the amount of mitigation fee, which is set forth. So the mitigation fee in total is going to be close to $350,000. And the extension of the sidewalk, which was substantially more than they originally offered. So if you're hearing these items for the first time, I don't know what to say or control that, except to say it is the first time that it's presented in one document.
It's not that I've heard this for the first time. It's when we get this document, it would be, and again, Clerk Perillo, is there a reason why we're not getting this information in a more timely fashion in advance? And I understand you were negotiating up until this evening, Attorney Moran, but it would be nice to have this information in its totality provided to us so that we can review it again with the alterations to it, and then make a decision on how we're going to vote on this thing this evening.
The clerk didn't have the information to forward.
Okay.
Did you want to make your statement, Bob, or?
Echoing what Matt had to say, we got this at, found out about this at 3:30, so I threw something together, but just want to read this. The Maryhaven property has been the forefront of our discussions for more than 2 years. The previous administration also dedicated a great deal of time and deliberation to this matter. Tonight, I want to acknowledge the significance of this decision and share why I'm comfortable with the direction we're now considering. I'm pleased with the current proposal, particularly the reduced number of units. This approach keeps the density in line with the character of the surrounding neighborhood. In addition, the project will bring meaningful revenue to the village and to our partner taxing bodies, including school district, Port Jefferson Fire District, the library, etc. Importantly, the plan includes full redesign of Myrtle Avenue and Belterre Road intersection, an area that has caused confusion for many years. This improvement alone will be a real benefit to the residents. The developer also committed to exceeding the required drainage capacity for the site, which will help address existing concerns in that area. The entrance gates will be preserved, maintaining a familiar and historic visual element. While it's unfortunate that the existing building cannot be saved, the developer has pledged to incorporate some of its character and architectural accents into the new construction, which I believe is thoughtful and a respectful gesture. Is the plan perfect? Absolutely not. Few projects of this scale ever are. But as a board, we have the responsibility to make decisions that serve the long-term best interests of the village as a whole. After weighing these benefits, the improvements, and commitments made, I believe this proposal moves us in the right direction. For those reasons, I'm inclined to approve the rezoning of the Maryhaven site. Thank you.
Did we have a
Yes, we have
motion
a
on the
motion
table?
and a second and a roll call.
Okay.
Trustee Franco?
In favor?
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Thank you. Trustee Hill?
Aye.
Thank you. Trustee Giuliano?
Aye.
Thank you. Trustee Ugrinsky?
Aye.
Thank you. That passes 4-0. Resolution number 19, 11/19/25. Resolution adopting the attached resolution approving the rezoning application from professional office PO district to moderate density residence, RM district, submitted by Beechwood Port Jefferson LLC for Country Point at Port Jefferson, located at 450 Myrtle Avenue, Port Jefferson, New York, 11777. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? These resolutions, just a note for the record, all reference Country Point at Port Jefferson, which is the working name of the property, right?
Mayor, I was going to bring that up after the vote.
Okay.
So if, in reference, to the name on the secret application was Country Point, and the name on the change of zone application was Beechwood Property, so that's why you see it in different names, different places. The developer did submit a substantial list of creative names.
They did.
Which I would like to ensure is an agenda topic for our next work session.
Perfect.
So they could begin their marketing strategy, and if the board's inclined to approve this resolution.
Okay. Any discussion further? All in favor?
Mayor?
Oh,
if I may?
roll call.
If I
I'm
may?
sorry.
Trustee Franco?
Aye.
Trustee Hill?
Aye.
Trustee Giuliano?
Aye.
Trustee Ugrinsky?
Aye.
Thank you. That passes 4-0. So with that, Mayor, sorry. So with that, Mayor, we also had scheduled a public hearing for this evening, but we have a resolution to table that public hearing. It's a resolution to table the public hearing regarding a proposed local law amending Chapter 250 zoning, Article 12, Planning Board of the Code of the Village of Port Jefferson to create Section 250, 51.2 Steep Slope Code of the Code of the Village of Port Jefferson. May I please have a motion to table?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries.
Thank you. With that, Mayor, we revert back to resolution number 1.
Oh, okay.
Okay? Resolution number 1, 11/19/25, is a resolution approving the attached minutes of the October 22nd, 2025 special work session meeting, the October 22nd, 2025 agenda meeting, and the November 5th, 2025 work session meeting of the Village of Port Jefferson Board of Trustees. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Resolution number 2, 11/19/25. Resolution approving the event permit application submitted by the Greater Port Jefferson Chamber of Commerce for the closure of Main Street and the use of village personnel for traffic control at all major intersections along Main Street from 3:00 p.m. through 3:30 p.m. on November 30th, 2025 for the annual Santa Parade. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution number 3, 11/19/25. Resolution approving the event permit application submitted by the Greater Port Jefferson Arts Council for the use of village personnel for traffic control and required street closures from 11 a.m. through 6 p.m. on December 6th, 2025, and December 7th, 2025 for the annual Charles Dickens Festival. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution number 4, 11/19/25. Resolution approving the event permit application submitted by the Greater Port Jefferson Chamber of Commerce for the use of a portion of Harborfront Park, specified parking spaces within Harborfront Park, and the use of village barricades from 9 a.m. through 5:30 p.m. on September 19th, 2026 for the annual Dragon Boat Festival. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Barbara wanted to lock it in.
forward thinking. That's some planning. She's, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Resolution number 5, 11/19/25. Resolution approving the attached second extension of the 2024 highway agreement between the Village of Port Jefferson and the Town of Brookhaven for the provision by the Town of Brookhaven of sand and salt material. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution number 6, 11/19/25. 2025. Resolution approving the 2025 New York State Climate Resiliency Plan for the Village of Port Jefferson as coordinated with the New York State Department of State and the Project Action Committee, the PAC. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Just for discussion, this is the Schwarting's, right?
Yes.
Everything that they've
Yeah.
put together? Because I think it was missing from the packet.
It could not, trustee.
Could not fit in there?
Be in the packet. It's
Okay.
literally hundreds
many
of pages.
pages.
Yeah,
Which is
okay.
why I had sent the link some time ago.
Got it,
And
okay.
we discussed it last time. I
All right.
couldn't-
No,
couldn't do it.
that makes complete sense, yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you for understanding.
Which is a great plan, and everyone really should look
Yeah.
at it. I know
Yeah.
we actually were breezing through this one, but this is we've talked about it a lot. It is really a big deal and would help with our flooding issues, very specific to our village. And it's great that local residents worked on this, and it is a lot of opportunities for the future to add more green spaces, which would make downtown more interesting and inviting and attractive. And hopefully we can, think long term and start working toward doing a
Well,
lot of those
our
things.
grant writer
Yeah.
is already hard at work,
Great.
so, yeah. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution number 7, 11/19/25. Resolution approving the following as attached between the Village of Port Jefferson and Port Jefferson Commons LLC. Permanent easement for parking lot encroachments, permanent easement for sidewalk encroachments, permanent easement for aerial encroachments, and temporary construction easement. And authorizing Mayor Shepro to sign the encroachments on behalf of the Village of Port Jefferson. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Just discussion on this too. If folks are wondering what we're talking about, there was a really good discussion in our work session on all of this. And if you've asked anyone on this board, what are you guys doing to help up by the train station? This is one of those things. So.
And they can go to the videotape if they are
Yes.
curious.
Yes.
Because we talked
Sorry, that's
in
what I implied,
detail.
but I did not say. You can watch our work session meeting from earlier in the month, and you can get all more detailed information on
Yeah,
what this
the
actually
engineer
is.
came in and discussed it for us and answered questions, so. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Resolution number 8, 11/19/25. Resolution approving the attached multi-year proposal submitted by Brian M. McCaffrey for services required for compliance with the village's current municipal separate storm sewer systems, MS4 permit. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
And I'll just mention again, we had a robust conversation and a presentation training from Brian McCaffrey, our stormwater consultant for the MS4 program, the DEC's MS4 program. That too can be viewed on the Village YouTube channel if you're interested and want to learn more about what Brian does for the village and what's coming next from the perspective of stormwater management under MS4. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution number 9, we've taken out of process. We'll proceed to resolution number 10, 11/19/25, resolution approving an increase of $2,500 per year to the annual salary of construction equipment operator Matt Molander, owing to the acquisition of substantial expertise in his area of employment, retroactive to July 4th, 2024. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
So I'll just ask Clerk Perlow, we didn't talk about this, but can you just give us a quick update on why this is retroactive and what, I know we appreciate Matt Molander's work, the substantial expertise he has acquired over time, and the effort he put in while another employee, the mechanic, was out due to injury for quite a few weeks. So outside of that, we're retroactiving this, that's not a word, to July 4th, but can you just please clarify why we're doing that?
Yes, it's retroactive, Mayor, because the board had approved this raise for this employee and another employee. However, at the time, we were in the midst of union negotiations. So following approval, the union, the CSEA asked that we walk back, quote unquote, those two, and the other was dealt with separately. So this is just to make this person whole.
Okay, so it was passed unanimously for Mr. Molander, but we walked it back until negotiations and the contract could be ratified, and now we want to make Matt Molander whole.
Yes, Mayor.
Okay, fair enough. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Resolution 11/19/25. Resolution ratifying the hiring of the following part-time seasonal employees as flag football instructors from September 29th, 2025 through November 10th, 2025, at an hourly wage rate of $35 per hour. Craig Perino, Joshua Shields, and Richard Mario, excuse me. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Is this a typo? Are we recruiting them and getting them in for next year? Is that what we're doing? Like, it's a very competitive, appointment.
Yes, very much so.
No, this is retroactive.
Yes,
This
it
is
is.
like, yeah, okay. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution number 12/11/1925. Resolution accepting the resignation of Crystal Lambert as a code enforcement officer effective November 14th, 2025. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution number 13/11/1925. Resolution accepting the resignation of Joseph Karachi as a code enforcement officer effective November 24th, 2025. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution number 14/11/1925. Resolution scheduling a public hearing for 6:00 p.m. on December 17th, 2025 at Village Hall, 121 West Broadway, Port Jefferson, New York, 11777, regarding a proposed local law amending Chapter 250 zoning, Attachment 1, Table of Fees, to consider increases in certain building department and planning and zoning fees. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Sorry.
That's okay. Resolution number 15/11/1925. Resolution scheduling a public hearing for 6:00 p.m. on December 17th, 2025 at Village Hall, 121 West Broadway, Port Jefferson, New York, 11777, regarding a proposed local law amending Chapter 245 Vehicles and Traffic, Section 45 Penalties for Offenses, to consider increases in certain parking-related fines and fees. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution number 16/11/1925, resolution approving the check register and warrants dated November 14th, 2025, as presented by Treasurer Gafka and as approved by Claims Auditor Goodwin. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 17, 18, and 19 have already been dealt with, so we have resolution number 20/11/1925, which is a resolution adopting the attached chemical release response plan for the Village of Port Jefferson. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Well, just on the motion, should we make a reporting, some sort of report after the fact part of this? Would that be?
After
after the
an
event is over.
incidental or emergency release?
After the event is over, if something happens, some sort of report that
I'm sure that a report would be generated, but this is, let's call it the action plan. So this is the action plan in the event of incidental or emergency releases. I'm sure we would generate an internal report and then provide it to any agency that needs it, noting that this is, of course, a regulatory requirement.
Right. Okay, I didn't know if the report should be part of the action plan or not, but as long as a report is generated after the,
A report?
Like what happened?
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Oh, following any incident that
Typical-
might happen
typical-
subsequent to
Right.
us
Yes,
adopting the.
typical of an
Fine.
incident
Yes, of
report,
course.
of
Yeah.
course,
Of course.
of course.
That's not in the actual plan itself?
It's not in the plan because this is the plan, this is a response plan. So this is to respond to either an incidental or emergency release of chemicals,
Yeah, I think a report would be
Yeah.
in order.
of
Mhm.
course.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Resolution number 21/11/1925, resolution authorizing Clerk Perillo to direct a letter of recommendation to the town of Brookhaven regarding a proposed project for the Village of Port Jefferson, which corresponds to the Town of Brookhaven LWRP, per the attached draft, and authorizing Mayor Shepro to sign the letter on behalf of the Board of Trustees. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions about this document? It's pretty straightforward.
It is.
This came up at one of the engineering meetings with GEI and Hayduck, and which happened recently. And then subsequent to that, we met with the town of Brookhaven, and we'll go into this at the work session, but about the Centennial Wall project and the FEMA grant that we got related to it. And at that meeting, because it was recommended by our engineers, Hayduck Engineering, and also the coastal engineering firm GEI, who's advising us on the design for East Beach Bluff stabilization. They were showing images of, you were at this meeting, right, Bob? They were showing images of the inlet at Mount Sinai Harbor and the jetty. And I've been hearing a lot from the community, the CCE, about how the Citizens Commission on Erosion, about how the jetty on the west side of the inlet at Mount Sinai is too short. It wasn't extended in a length that was adequately protecting the sediment and caused additional erosion west of that jetty. So I asked, we had a pretty robust discussion in the meeting, and
Yes.
those notes are noted in the meeting minutes. So I asked Hayduck to put together a recommendation, a technical recommendation about this, because it fits right into the local waterfront revitalization plan reconnaissance that the town of Brookhaven is currently undergoing in light of their grant from the Department of State to put together a local waterfront revitalization plan. So this seemed like the biggest deal for Port Jefferson. There are other things that can be recommended for Port Jefferson, but this seemed like one of the most impactful engineering initiatives. And while we were at the town of Brookhaven, I spoke with both Council Member Kornreich and the Parks Commissioner of Parks, Eddie Morris, and they both felt like this would be a good recommendation coming from the Village of Port Jefferson for their plan. So that's why I wanted, and this is rushed, I know, we just kind of pulled this together within the last 2 days or so, but we wanted to get this board's endorsement of it and authorization for the mayor to sign it and send it into the town. So that's the background on that.
May I have a comment?
Let me try and stop you.
In spite of not knowing about this in advance, I could not be more thrilled, because those of us who've been coastal dwellers our entire lives basically recognized that one of those jetties was too short. So I commend how quickly that came together, because I would have supported it from the beginning, so I hereby do.
Thank you.
It'll do a lot for preserving the actual sand on the beach at East Beach and West Beach.
It also, the recommendation also includes a regular maintenance program as recommended by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers in a very extensive 230-page report. So, and the jetty extension does not go north. It would not go northward. It would go southward toward the land, which is the engineer's recommendation.
May I make a comment? I echo Trustee Ugrinsky's opinion on this, and it's interesting because a former Mayor Mike Lee, when I first won my election, came to my house and gave me a dissertation on this. And it was very interesting, and I agree, this is substantial. Let's get this done.
All right, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, motion carries.
Resolution number 22, 111925, Resolution to close the November 19th, 2025 agenda meeting of the Board of Trustees at 8:01 PM. May I have a motion?
To close?
Motion?
Yeah.
Second.
It's always me, right? Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Motion carries. Good night and good luck.
I got enough.